up the fucking Reds, come on. And Gary Neville, fuck off, lad. All right, the Reds, how are we? It's Talking Reds, it's Friday. And that was me taking the piss out of Ian Ryan there, because every time he walks in the office, he says, all right, the boys, how are we? Anyway, the Reds then today. There's loads. First off, let's get the plugs in early. There's loads and loads of boss stuff from the Wrap this week. There's a preview show going to be out on the YouTube channel. It's probably out by the time this is out, to be honest with you. So check that out. It does too on that as well, mate. Do you know what I mean? So they're getting loads of us there.
Absolutely.
There's the team talk where we react to Jurgen Klopp's press conference. That's done. That will be out by the time this is out as well. There's a Friday show. There's the Weekender. We're on Radio City Talk later on, 6:30. So there's loads of stuff going on there to build up to Tottenham Hotspur v Liverpool, which is, of course, tomorrow at 12:30. Finally, this friggin' 2-week international break has absolutely dragged, hasn't it?
It's taken so long, hasn't it, to get back to the normal stuff that we all want to see. And the only thing it does do is the excitement builds, doesn't it? So now you're absolutely just can't wait to go. I can't wait to see the boys. I'm a little bit disappointed it's not the R5 game, maybe. Saturday R5 always feels like it's one where you can get out in the aisle. Don't get me wrong, we can still get out in the aisle, you know what I mean? But R5 feels maybe a little bit better than 12:30, and I think the manager's said quite a bit around that as well, hasn't he? But listen, we'll have to get on with it.
No, absolutely, and then we've got Paris at Anfield on Tuesday as well, so that's another belter to look forward to, and obviously we'll be doing loads of stuff around that as well. But first off, there's been chat about how good this current Liverpool team is. And tomorrow's obviously another big test for it, but there's been a couple of things said really. Henderson said some of the football we've been playing over the past year or so, if not longer, is right up there with the best teams I've ever been involved in really, if not the best. And Graham Souness as well, this was referenced in Jurgen Klopp's press conference earlier. He says Liverpool are as strong as I can remember going back to when they were winning the league last time. This is the strongest group they've had since then. Jurgen had a bit of a laugh about that and said, nice one, pile the pressure on. But, we can just have a chat as fans. I think it's fine for us to just have a chat about how good is this side. And, I mean, we were saying on the team talk that, OK, we've signed some new players and, OK, it's only 4 games in. And you'll get that thing where people will say, oh, whoa, calm down, it's only... But the nucleus of the side is still the same as last season, you know what I mean? So we've been watching these boys for a while, do you know what I mean? They're bought into Klopp's philosophy, they're bought into the style of play, and I think we're reaping the rewards of that. So what do you reckon, where would you put them? And also, how difficult is it to make these comparisons? I think it's really hard.
It's really hard. I mean, if you're going to go back to 1990, which is the last time we won the league, we were chatting off air, weren't we, Rob? I mean, that's such a difficult comparison to make, and I was going to a match then. I had a season ticket, so I was there the last time the Reds kind of lifted the title, but obviously quite young, so it's hard to kind of really piece together the whole kind of jigsaw. But I don't remember it being kind of really great flowing football every week where we were smashing teams to bits. That doesn't. Whereas in '88, again, I was going really young, but just from speaking to people around the game at the time, that was a time when Liverpool were free flowing, unbelievable. The Notts Forest game 5-0 always is one that gets referenced, isn't it? Because I think every man and his dog was talking about Liverpool then. I think Tom Finney come out and said it was the greatest performance that he's ever seen live. So that
compared
was
to Brazil and all.
I mean, that was unbelievable. And I've watched that game back as well, and it is frightening just how good Liverpool were. And by the way, Forest were a good team. I think they ended up finishing about 3rd that season, 4th maybe. Obviously, we meet them in the semi-final as well, but we absolutely destroyed them. So maybe there's a comparison there, but I think the ultimate thing is with this is you have to go and win stuff, don't you? To be truly recognised as a world-class football team, a top side, you've got to go and put some kind of trophies in the cabinet. And I used to say that won't happen under Jurgen Klopp. I just think
it's harder now though as well. I mean, you've got there's more money in the game. There's more rivals almost. I mean, we talk about Tottenham tomorrow. I mean, they finished above us 8 out of the last 9 seasons. And Tottenham have always been a decent-ish side, but obviously it's even longer for them since they've won a title. But it just feels to me like you've got United, you've got City, you've got Arsenal, you've got Tottenham, you've got Chelsea, and it's much more difficult now to do it. I also think the other thing is, and Jurgen made a bit of a reference to it. He said something like, the football tops are a lot tighter now than they were then. But you know what he means.
Tell me about it.
But you know what he means in that, like, it's a different game almost now. You know, you got the sports science. You know, the players are absolute athletes.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them don't drink and stuff like that. And you know, you go back to 1990, they were definitely having a bevy.
Having a bevy. Absolutely having a bevy. Good on them. But I think even if you look at what it takes to get top four now compared to what, I mean, no, there was times under previous football managers where you're getting top four with 60 points.
Yeah.
And that's not getting you anywhere near top four now. You know, you're talking, was it Arsenal got 75 and just missed out to us. So, you know, the bar's been raised. It's been well and truly raised. And I always come back to something that, it might be Neil mentioned it on the show where he said, you know, Liverpool could go and post a record points total in the Premier League and still not win the league because you've got this Man City team that obviously Pep Guardiola's put together, had loads of money to be able to do it, and they look like an unbelievable football side with loads of depth to the squad.
86 is the most we've ever got in the Premier League era. I know people hate that phrase, but you know, it is what it is. We haven't won one in the Premier League era, so we have to talk about it in that respect. And 86 points is the most we've got. You saw what City did last season. And you know, saying earlier that, you know, like Neil's right. You know, Liverpool could get 90 points or 90 points plus, and it might not be enough to win the league. And at that point, like you said before, it defines you if you win a trophy, and that is traditionally how everyone's always talked about football. But I kind of think, like, if Liverpool get 92 points and don't win the league, you've still got to go, well done,
absolutely.
Lads. Do you know what I mean?
There's a big difference between, you know, being recognised as a brilliant football team, but also there's something in the fact about still enjoying watching football. You know,
the journey
that's not to say, you know, it's been a failure if Liverpool don't win the league title this season. Obviously, we all want to see that happen, but you also have to recognise what's going on around you. And if a team goes and posts, you know, 95 to 100 points again, what are you supposed to do about that? You know what I mean? It's very difficult to kind of match that kind of pace. But what I have to say, what you'd say is, at the minute, you know, Liverpool top the league, so it's ours to lose. You know what I mean? It's one of them. And at the minute, you kind of, when you look at us and City, they're the two standouts. Yeah. So you'd say, you know, if anyone's going to push them, it's going to be this Liverpool team. But, you know, I'm being flippant before. There's an awful long way to go. There's lots that can happen. There's injuries. There's, you know, they go and lose Kevin De Bruyne. And so far, they've managed it quite well. But I think there's something around the fact that, you know, the fixtures have felt kindly for them, so there's a lot of luck as well involved, Rabbo, to win trophies and titles. And I think Carragher references it on a show recently. I think it was the Moments in Time one, but he says, you know, don't underestimate just how hard it is to win trophies. It's so hard, and that's why I think a lot of footballers put winning a trophy above finishing top four. And it's that old argument: is it, what would you rather do, qualify for the Champions League or win trophies? It's always difficult. Even now, as a fan, I kind of argue with myself about it, really. What do you want to do? Do you want to day out and see a trophy, or do you want to get top four because you know how important it is? And actually, you don't have to be exclusive. You know, sometimes you can do both, but you know, we know in today's modern game, it's hard to compete on four fronts and mount a serious challenge for the league, isn't it?
I think it's like, I'm going to sound like you are, but I think it's nice for the kids that we win a trophy sometimes too. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, I can remember the first time I seen Liverpool lift the trophy and come back to the city and the open top bus and all that kind of stuff. And it was brilliant. You know, it's a brilliant moment, that. And like, just getting in the Champions League, yes, of course, it's really important for money, really important for attracting players, keeping players. It's where you want your team to be playing now and all that kind of thing. But when you're a kid, it's boss to see. It's boss to see that trophy in red and white ribbons, and you know, as I said, I mean, like we did an interview with Peter Crouch this week, and you know, that's on the Anfield app there as well. We've been plugging that away this week. But what was really good, the bit I enjoyed with him was he was talking about the FA Cup and how good it was to win it. Yeah. And he was saying, like, you know, like he used to live sort of not far from Wembley, and he could see the Twin Towers and all that sort of stuff. And he said he'd been to FA Cup finals with his dad. He said to actually play in one and win it and get a medal, he said, you know, it was absolutely amazing, like a dream.
But you used to live for those days, didn't you? I mean, the FA Cup's now become something where, you know, teams look at it, and it upsets me that you see teams in the lower leagues playing weakened sides in the FA Cup, and you think, well, that's not what it used to be about. And, you know, the build-up to the FA Cup was one of the most exciting times as a fan that you can imagine, because it was a full day of footy, wasn't it? And the build-up was unbelievable. Times have changed, but I heard you say the other day, you know, you've always been one to talk about, well, let's just go and win the League Cup because it's a trophy. But now you're wrestling with it and thinking, well, can we afford to go strong in that game because there's bigger fish to fry? And then you've got people like Gary Neville saying, well, if I was Liverpool, I'd just fuck the Champions League off. Oh, would you, Gary? That's
that's
sound interesting. Yeah, sound. Yeah, let's let you have a free run of it, shall we? You bell end. But you know, it's one of that. I mean, you know, we're not gonna bin the Champions League off. But I suppose what he's trying to get to in a roundabout way is that, you know, is there any sense in Liverpool just going absolutely full pelt at the league? And I think Kev Walsh mentioned something similar on a show recently, but there's absolutely no way in this world Jurgen Klopp's gonna.
You can't bin the Champions League.
You just can't.
You can't bin that. I mean, what he said was, if I was Liverpool, I'd kick the Champions League into touch. I know that's very hard to do, but they could go into February, March, April without it. I think they could have a real chance at the title if they had 3 weeks. I mean, like, it was put to Klopp in the press conference, and he basically said, you know, how would that work? He says, we don't play Champions League or what? Gary should come over and tell me exactly how that works. How do you prepare for a game when you don't focus on it? I don't understand. Do we play our kids or what? He said last year, I don't even think Gary would have said, let City win in the Champions League. The one where he really gets to digging, though, he finished with, sitting in an office talking about football is different to doing the job.
Yeah, love it. So absolutely love it.
I mean, or different to managing Valencia. But I mean,
bodied him there, Annie, to be fair.
Yeah, massively so. And he also went here. Did he say that about Manchester United? And it was Glenn who asked the question, and Glenn was like, no, he didn't know just about Liverpool, and he just did his big laugh, like, and was like, yeah. I mean, if he'd have said that about the League Cup, as you say, I think maybe we could have got on board a little bit more with it. You know, I want to see like the kids going that. And I'd like to win it, but I think we've got to prioritise, you know, the League and the Champions League over the League Cup. And I think everyone's on board with that. But the idea that you're not going to take the Champions League seriously, behave.
No.
I mean, how does that, like Klopp says, how does that work?
I think it's one. You talk about realistic chances of winning league titles. Well, no, we've demonstrated last season what we can do in the Champions League, and there's no reason to suggest why we couldn't go and do something similar, maybe go a step further, because I think our game is absolutely suited perfectly to playing in the Champions League. And I think, you know, what some of these other teams have found last year is that, you know, you attack Liverpool at your peril because we're absolutely set up perfectly for the counter-attack. But some of these big teams, Robbo, they won't necessarily kind of think about that because they'll back themselves to be good at Anfield. PSG will back themselves to come and show what they're about. That's sometimes the worst thing you can do when you're playing this Liverpool team, because we can absolutely cut you to shreds on the break.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be good. Looking forward to Spurs away. Looking forward to Paris Saint-Germain.
How good is it, by the way, that we've got really all these fixtures coming up?
Really good. Ignore this crap that is going around. I've seen the latest one to jump on board, I think, was Fox Sports or something. You know, they just put like a graphic out of Liverpool's next 7 games and go like, oh, good luck with that. And it's like, But this is what we want. This is what we're in it for. I'm absolutely delighted. I'd take this any day over 2 weeks sat at home going, okay, now this is shit, isn't it? You know, this is why we're football fans. This is why we go to match. We want to see Liverpool taking on the best, going toe to toe, knocking them out. And that's what we're about to do, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Spurs, we're not going to go too much into that because, as I say, we have done the preview show. So if you won all the chat around Spurs, it was me, Ian, Dan Morgan, and we also spoke to some Spurs fans. That was very good as well. And then Neil's done his tactics board as well, looking at possible weaknesses of Spurs that maybe Liverpool could exploit. So watch the preview show, get onto that. But a few little bits and bobs. Walshy's put down here, rightly so, that, you know, there's references continually back to the last time we go to Wembley and play Spurs, the fact that we lose 4-1. And I think we did mention this on the preview show, but this time it's going to be a different keeper. I mean, and the defence in general then was Gomez, Lovren, Matip. You know,
Gomez plays right back that day, doesn't he? Yeah.
And you know, this time you've got Robertson's flying on one flank, Trent's flying on the other one. Gomez and Van Dijk look fantastic together. And the keeper, well, I'm already not asked about what happened at Leicester, so fucking what. Besides that, he's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't really make comparisons, can you, about last year now, because the back five is changed. And even though Gomez played last year, he will be playing in a different part of the pitch this year, and he's been absolutely outstanding so far. We know that, we've talked about it loads. So yeah, totally different game. It's going to be an interesting one, but I think, you know, we touched on it yesterday. At this moment in time, it's hard to back against Liverpool, isn't it?
I think so.
We look strong in every
I think the other thing as well is that, you know, you kind of think in the past, oh, like international breaks have like disrupted something. You know, they've come at a wrong time. Whereas this time around, we've ground out those results while at the same time you're feeling they can still go up a gear or two here. And if now is the time they go up the gear or two, then it could all be perfect for us. This idea that this next 7 is horrible for us. Imagine we win them. Imagine we beat Paris Saint-Germain. Imagine we beat Spurs, Chelsea twice. Imagine we beat Southampton. You know, and you emerge the other side of that. A really, you know, a tough run of fixtures. I get why people say it. But you emerge the other side of that, and all of a sudden you've got that momentum. Everyone's buzzing. You're buzzing going to match. Anfield's like, you know, brilliant. And I just think, like, you know, you remember that run in 13, 14 that we go on, and the way, like, a buzz developed around Liverpool, and like it was brilliant to go to the match, and everyone's making banners and flags, and there's pyro going everywhere. It was great to go away from home. We can have that again.
Well, that's why the argument doesn't stack up about like just chucking your chips in on the Champions League, because there's something massive around momentum, isn't there? You touched on 13, 14, and yes, it was only one game a week then, but footballers want to play matches. They'd rather be playing games than training.
Running around that Melrose,
you know, if you start winning big football matches, that creates a buzz. It creates momentum. We feed off that. The players feed off that. The manager will feed off that. There's no doubt in my mind, the more big games you win, the better position we're going to be in. So the absolute idea of, you know, let's just cast aside one big trophy and concentrate on another. No, as you said, maybe there's an argument around the League Cup, the FA Cup, maybe. I think it depends. It's a generational thing sometimes, isn't it? You speak to me half fella, he'd be like, no, you've got to win a trophy, you've got to win the League Cup. Yeah, win the FA Cup. When, you know, you speak to maybe younger fans and they'll say, well, you know, top 4, you've got to get top 4, you've got to be in the Champions League every single year. It can be a tough one. That's why Jurgen gets paid the big bucks, isn't it? Let him sort it out.
Well, let him sort it out and let him win. Come on, the Reds. Win against Spurs, win against Paris Saint-Germain. That has been Talking Reds. Get stuck into our stuff over the weekend. There will be the post-match podcast. Obviously, there will be the post-match video too. We're doing it from Motel Bar. If you're round and about in town tomorrow, come down and have a bevy with us. We'll be in there watching it. Up the fucking Reds. Come on. And Gary Neville, fuck off, lads.